You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
All right, welcome. Another episode of 91 Reasons, but more importantly, another episode delving into the intricacies of the dark and murky, strange, fringe fandom called Homestuck. We've got listeners all around the world listening to our Homestuck theories. And I am Jeff Tucker. I am your host. I am the voice you hear. I know nothing of Homestuck. So I must be taken on a journey. I must be guided through the Homestuck realms, because as a person over 25, I know nothing of Homestuck. It means nothing to me. I have no concept of what it is. But dear listener, I am learning as we go along. And what I'm learning most of all is that Homestuck is insane. But it's insane in a good way. It's not insane in a way that is detrimental to your life. It's insane in a way that here's this crazy thing that you can latch onto that's free if you have the internet or access or a computer or a tablet. And even if you don't have internet access, if you have a tablet or a computer or a laptop and you can get to a Starbucks or someplace with Wi-Fi, you can access the world of Andrew Hussey, the world of Homestuck. And I am joined once again by the resident Homestuck experts who will now introduce themselves.
Austin Tucker. Luna.
And joining us as a special guest star today is, what is your name, dear?
Josie.
Josie. How old are you, Josie?
9.
9. Now, you know about Homestuck.
Yep.
Okay. You've been into Homestuck for what, about 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
So you started when you were 7.
Yep.
And you actually have already, at the tender age of 9, you have cosplayed as a Homestuck character at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
Who were you?
I was Rosaland.
Who is Rosaland?
Lalonde. She's one of the beta kids.
One of the beta kids. And you wore a dress with like a symbol, and you carried a doll, and everybody at the Shifty Look booth and area knew exactly who you were. Mm-hmm. There was no question. And you actually went out to the infamous IHOP Stuck incident.
Yes.
How was that?
Awesome.
This is 2 years ago almost. About 1.5 years ago. If we count in Comic-Cons, it was 2 years ago. But in real, actual, regular folk time, 1.5 years. All right? All right, we'll get back to you. All right. So we're joined by our experts here who are going to guide us through some more of the intricacies of Homestuck. And I'm telling you, folks, the more I hear about it, the more I realize that these episodes may never end. We could do an episode a week on Homestuck and never reach a point where we go, well, that was it. Do you think?
There's
always something to talk about.
There's so much ground to cover.
So much ground to cover. Now, we didn't hear a lot from you last episode, Austin. So let's focus in on you at the beginning here. So once again, you have to understand, Austin is sitting here dressed in his Homestuck cosplay. And who are you cosplaying again?
Nepeta Lajan.
Nepeta Lajan. Who is Nepeta Lajan?
Nepeta Lajan is one of the trolls, one of the aliens.
So you're an internet troll.
Yes.
You're one of those guys who goes on forums and just messes with people.
Pretty
looking
much.
for a reaction. Oh, I hate you so much.
That's pretty much what they are, the trolls.
Okay, so we talked about trolls. Why don't we talk about some of the weirder things? You've got, again, folks, they've got a whole paper of notes here of all this crazy stuff that we could talk about. Now, we were going to start off with, when we were driving around a little while ago, here's what I said. I said, I'm going to describe something to you, and you guys tell me what it is. I said, it's an intricately plotted out story where the writer comes up with all of these random things and then 30 or 40 hours down the road finds a way to fold them into the story so that you think the writer is a genius, but actually it's just grasping at straws. And of course I'm describing Lost, not Homestuck, because Luna and I watched every episode of Lost together, start to finish, oy vey. I did enjoy the ending, but there were some middle parts there where it's obviously they were flailing for storylines. But Homestuck has been accused of being lost-ish at some points in the past, right?
Yeah.
What was your answer to that in the car?
That Hussey wrote a blog post years before Homestuck saying how he hates modern TV. There's nothing good ever to air on TV ever except Lost. Lost is the greatest piece of genius ever written.
So it's no coincidence that his mega opus has a lot to do with
Yes,
Lost. And you
yeah.
were citing some specific Austin, what are some specific examples of how Homestuck references Lost?
One of the characters, Wayward Vagabond, goes on a flying ship, and this ship crash lands, and they get stranded in the middle of nowhere where they find a hats. They go down the hats, and they type in a bunch of numbers in the console, which eventually leads to revealing a map.
On the inside of the door.
Yeah.
Just like in Lost. And then...
Maybe just like, of course, it's
Yeah.
that's exactly from Lost, and it came after Lost, right?
From it, yeah.
Yeah. That's a direct rip. It's
Direct reference.
But
It's
no,
a
no.
reference.
If it's arty, it's an homage. If it's a Thing action figure at the swap meet, that's a rip-off bootleg. But in art, it's an homage.
It's an homage.
Yeah.
It's paying tribute to what got him to that
Tribute.
point.
It's a callback, if you will.
And then the whole afterlife thing. He's trying to lead it back into Lost again here at the end, with a message about afterlife at the end.
Do you find that interesting that Lost was not perceived very well at the end? It felt like a lot of people felt cheated because we were promised that the island wasn't purgatory. Now, I followed Lost very clearly, so I know that the island wasn't, but to a lot of lay people, they thought the island was purgatory. So why would you pattern something in line with something that was perceived as being not so good? That'd be like him doing an homage to Howard the Duck or the Lone Ranger.
Howard the Duck has ties to Homestuck.
Well, of course it does.
The new Howard the Duck comic line is written by Ryan North.
All right, there it is. A name that will resonate. Okay. Austin, tell us who Ryan North is.
So Ryan North is a webcomic artist who created this webcomic called Dinosaur Comics. He decided to do this comic series where every month, 2 months, he'd switch out a template and write new dialogue using the same 6 panels. He started out with dinosaurs. It was these same panels, these dinosaurs in these certain poses. And then he said in 2 months from now, it'll be a space theme, and it'll be astronauts in space talking. It was very minimalistic. He would just use the same panels. Well, he never changed the template. And here we are, how many years later?
11 years, and he's still using the dinosaurs.
Yeah, so now it's just Dinosaur
It's
Comics.
the same picture every day.
With different
With
dialogue.
new dialogue. Whatever is happening in his life at the moment.
But you're so happy when you talk about that. That sounds ridiculous. That sounds like
Yeah.
laziness. That'd be like me putting up a new episode every day. It's the same episode. Like, no. Wait. There's a deeper meaning to it.
Meaning, yes.
Yeah. So who is Ryan North?
Andrew Hussey's best friend.
Best
So
friend.
there's the connection.
It's they're the closest friends you can imagine. Hussey carries around a picture of Ryan in his wallet.
They've swapped credit cards.
They swapped credit cards. The great credit card swap, where they just bought things with each other's credit cards. Ryan North constantly references all of Andrew Hussey's stuff in the Adventure Time comics he wrote.
So Ryan North writes for Adventure Time,
Yes,
The
he
comics.
used to, and he just ended the run.
which is another huge fandom that you guys are into.
Yes.
So Homestuck and Adventure Time sort of are somewhat related.
Somewhat.
I mean, not really,
Really,
but kind
just
of.
through Ryan North. There's a few references in Adventure Time to Homestuck, but there's not a single one that's like, oh my god, obvious Homestuck. It's like if you look at it a certain way.
But didn't Hussey draw a cover to some comic? Was that not Homestuck?
That was
Midas Flesh.
Midas Flesh, which is Ryan North's comic line.
Okay,
No
all
connection.
right, the Ryan North. There's the Ryan North connection
Yeah,
again.
Boom publishes Adventure Time. So anytime Hussey or Ryan or anyone like that does a comic, Boom publishes it for him because they're all friends in the
Now,
business.
you met Ryan North at Comic-Con, right?
Yes.
Well, what kind of guy is he?
He's really friendly.
He's really friendly. He's a much more open guy than Hussey.
Did he offer you his credit card to go shopping?
we bought him the Adventure Time comics because we thought we had found a Homestuck reference, and we wanted to ask him if this was a Homestuck reference. And he said yes. He said he even mailed a copy of the comic to Andrew Hussey's house, and he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And later on during the Adventure Time panel, after we had meet and greeted him, and did he sign the comic?
Yeah,
He did sign, yeah. I asked him at the panel when they were doing Q&A how much of his work is influenced by Homestuck.
And what was the answer?
Everything I write is Homestuck.
Everything he writes is
Everything.
Homestuck.
And,
He's a guy after your own heart.
He's kind of right there.
He's kind of right.
Everything he writes is directly influenced by Homestuck.
if he's telling you about his work, of course he's right. How could he be wrong? How could you go look? The only guy who's wrong about his own work is George Lucas. There's a guy who doesn't understand anything about the thing he created. So, okay, go ahead.
The third time we met Ryan North was at Sifty Look.
The third time?
It was all the same weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was dressed as Ryan North during all this.
How do you dress as Ryan North? He's not in the comic.
He is. There's MSPA is coded in such a way that it's set up in 6 sections, one for each of the little comics Hussey writes. If you replace the 6 in the URL with the word Ryan Quest, you get a bonus little 10-page comic about Ryan North.
Oh, wait. For those of us at home who are not familiar, tell us again how to get this bonus episode of Ryan North. I mean, this is important. Say it again.
Go to any page in MSPA. And
what MSPA is?
MS Paint Adventures.
Okay.
And erase the page number and erase everything up to the number. For Homestuck, it's a 6. And in place of 6, put Ryan Quest.
And you get a secret comic about Hussey and Ryan North drawn in the Homestuck art style.
Oh, this sounds great. What an Easter egg.
The best part about it is Ryan North, as a hobo, sleeps outside this random guy's house. And the guy comes out with a broom yelling to get off his lawn. And fun fact, that random guy is the only random guy in all of Homestuck canon. Every other character is completely important, and there's multiple versions of them that come back in like 20 pages. He's the only character to not be important.
The one
ever.
guy, he throws Andrew Hussey off his porch.
Ryan North
off his porch.
Andrew Hussey writes Ryan as a hobo running around, sleeping in people's bushes.
A hobo.
Yes.
Like a tramp.
Dressed as Batman.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. A hobo dressed as Batman.
Yes.
Now, doesn't it say it's just Batman, or does he have like one of those sticks with the little bandana on the end?
It's a pink Batman cowl.
It's a pink Batman. Well, that's from the TV show. Oh,
And
God. This thing just makes your head swim.
And in the first page of Ryan Quest, Ryan's wearing a shirt that says, Batman is for silly little boys. So Hussey is calling Ryan a silly little boy by dressing as Batman.
Because North is a Batman fan.
Yeah.
So and obviously Hussey isn't. How can you not be a Batman fan? Batman appeals to everybody.
Hussey's never done anything with superheroes. He's not a big.
Yeah.
The only time he's ever shown any love for superheroes is he talks a lot about the Nick Cage Superman. And that's about
And-
it.
But that's taking a piss on it. That's not real. In the canon of superhero movies, the Nick Cage failed Superman project is about as good as 20th Century Fox's Fantastic Four movies, Howard the Duck. Well, actually, I like Howard the Duck. And maybe Condor Man or Meteorite Man.
But in Homestuck canon, the Nick Cage Superman is used as a metaphor for God. They're trying to set up how humans view God, and that's Superman. He's the big godly figure, and he's an alien. And he's an alien who looks human. So when the kids go God tier, when they reach their highest potential, they go God tier, they get superpowers. They all wear Superman-like capes and outfits.
But how does that tie into Nicolas Cage? The guy
They
was
just-
never
Nick-
really Superman.
No, but Nick Cage had already been established as a character in the plot, so that was a good way to segue between the 2 points.
Oh
was to
my
use Nick
God.
Cage as the jump point to get to Superman.
And about on what page number does all this occur?
Let's see. The Nick Cage is
Um,
late in the 5000s is when they get to God tier.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
late
it
in the
does-
I have
5,000.
to point out, as a guy on Reddit corrected us, it's true that the Homestuck comic doesn't begin until page 1903. Before that is Problem Sleuth, Bard Quest, and Jailbreak, which are Hussey's other adventures that I count as all the same canon because you have to read them to understand Homestuck.
Well, that begs the question, Luna. Do you understand Homestuck?
Mostly.
Mostly.
That there is to understand. He hasn't explained a lot of it. There's jokes in there that even the top theorists are like, don't talk about that. We don't know what it means. So he'll explain it later.
You talked in the first episode about a horse on a desk.
Yes,
Why-
the maple hoof.
Why would
Horses in general, we don't know about.
Why would that be important, though?
There's
Why
a-
would you care about that?
Okay.
Because when I listened back to the first episode, the thing that struck me was I needed to follow up because you were like, everything means something, but this horse doesn't. We're still wondering, why
Yeah.
would you wonder about
Because
something on a guy's
Where
desk?
The horses thing is the major. Theorists tell us not to talk about it. When Lord English, the major villain of the comic, he's the bad guy destroying reality. He breaks into Andrew Hussey's apartment, and Hussey says, "It's okay, because I have the weapon that can destroy you." And it'd be so ironic that you die so close to horses. There'd be horses in the vicinity. It's very ironic. And that's it.
But there's
Why-
there's no explanation.
No, we don't know why it's ironic.
we don't know what that means.
Later, John beats up Lord English as a kid shows up, and John beats him up, and he lays hurt there with all these horses around him. It's supposed to be ironic. We don't know why. It's ironic that the villain is beaten by horses every time, but we don't know why.
We don't know. There's no
explanation.
No
We've
explanation.
given up.
What the heck?
And when Hussey goes to heaven, there's horses in his heaven, in his world, and his dream bubble where you go when you die. His is full of horses.
So is that saying like horses represent everything pure and good, so that would be the one thing that would undo the villain, or is that too simplistic?
It's too simplistic because Equius, a character themed around horses, is seen as the very lewd, not safe for work guy. So horses can't be a sign of purity.
Okay, what? You're telling me more than I could ever possibly comprehend, right? Now, you dressed as Ryan North in that Batman shirt.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you were dressed at Comic-Con, like you had multiple costumes. At one point, you had a shirt on that had a whale on it, and you carried a clipboard. Explain what that looked like.
That was the same day that Luke was Ryan North. We were in matching costumes. He was Ryan North, and I was Andrew Hussey. And in the comic Ryan Quest, Andrew Hussey is drawn wearing one of Ryan North's T-shirts he made, which is a picture of a whale on it and says, "A wizard has turned you into a whale. Is this awesome? Yes or no?" And I wore that around. I also had a clipboard in my hand because in the comic, Andrew Hussey has a clipboard that keeps track of how many times Ryan North has cried today because he stalks Ryan North as a hobo in this comic. And I actually got the clipboard signed by Hussey.
All right, we'll get a picture of that on the Facebook page.
But no, it gets better.
How could it get better?
I got it signed by Hussey with Hussey's signature on there, and then I brought it to Ryan North, and I said, "Could you sign it too?" And he signed his name next to Andrew Hussey and put a heart next to it. So now it says, "Ryan North hearts Andrew Hussey" on the clipboard.
This sounds like two guys with some serious issues. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like two guys who love each other. and not like, "Hey, man, I love you," but like, "Hey, man, I love you. I want to be dressed as you. Give me a break, man." But you've said Andrew Hussey is married.
We don't know. Apparently, Rachel is his partner, but it's never been confirmed.
So Rachel could be a pseudonym for Ryan North. Are there pictures of Rachel?
No.
You don't know what she looks like.
There's one girl.
You don't know her. She's from Canada.
Yeah. Ryan North's from Canada.
Hey, now we're talking.
In the comic, I'm trying to find the page. It's one of the secret Nick Cage flashes. At the end of it, there's a picture of Hussey and a girl. And they're both wearing What Pumpkin shirts. The girl is either Cindy Juice, the head of What Pumpkin, or Rachel, the head of marketing. We don't know which one it is. So, they're debateful.
The plot thickens.
The plot thicken.
But didn't you say at one point Andrew Hussey and Ryan North were living together somewhere? Or is that
He spends every Christmas up at his Ryan North's house. He'll just go to Ryan North's house for weeks and stay there.
And where is this at?
Toronto.
And Hussey lives where?
Supposedly Boston.
Supposedly, we don't know.
Every single webcomic artist says, "Oh, I live in Boston." So there's either a whole community of webcomic artists, or they're lying about something.
They live in GeoCities. Well, let me ask you, do you find it interesting that somewhere there's an Albertsons or a Stater Brothers grocery store or Ralph's where Hussey goes and gets bread and milk? This is a dumb analogy, but you know that a lot of people know who I am.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm out somewhere, someone will come up to me and go, "Aren't you the guy?" And they normally recognize me from Not Scary Farm where I work, because I'm very high profile. And a lot of times people just don't know what to say to me, and they're like, hey, how's it going? And then they just stare at me, and I go, hey, how are you? And I try to, I just imagine you guys, if there was a way that you could be in the vicinity of Hussey every day, you would find a way to go, look, what are you going after? What are you doing after school? Well, we're going to Albertsons. The guy might need cantaloupes.
Well,
and I only say that because Hussey's not like a celebrity film star or movie or television star. Like, he's a webcomic guy, so 99.9% of the public is not going to recognize him. But for guys like you, he's Elvis.
Yeah. He had a really funny tweet just last week. He said all the time he goes out in public with a Homestuck shirt on, one of his own shirts, and he gets people saying, hey, nice shirt, man, love Homestuck. And they just keep walking.
But they don't know who he is.
They don't know who he is.
Oh, my God.
One time, he does say this. This was like 2 years ago on Twitter.
Yeah.
He went to go get a Subway.
It was a burrito.
It was a burrito, but it was a picture of a Subway.
He says it's a burrito. It's a picture of a Subway.
And he opened
you're talking about like a submarine sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he opened up the sandwich, and inside was a little drawing of Carcat saying, "Here you go."
Yeah.
So the sandwich guy knew who he was terrified to speak to him, and instead held up the line so he could draw a character on the wrapper.
And Hussey's ongoing gag from then on is that he can't even get a sandwich without peace.
But that's silly because he chased fame. He chased it. You can't chase fame, catch it, and then complain about it. You know, you either want to be famous or you're happy just being one of the guys.
He hasn't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
He hasn't had a con appearance since May, but apparently it ended with him and Casey Green. I think it was Casey Green in a security car that they have at cons, just driving away from fans chasing him. We don't know what happened.
Who's Casey Green?
Casey Green writes Gun Show Comics, another webcomic.
Another webcomic, of course. Who lives in Boston?
He lives in Boston.
Of course he does. They all live in Boston.
They either live in Boston or Toronto.
Boston, if you're listening, keep an eye on your grocery stores, because somewhere Andrew Hussey is in line getting a submarine sandwich burrito, and you could meet him, because he's wearing his own shirt.
Yeah, he doesn't hide himself at all. It's just he only gets fans once every week or two noticing him.
What do you think of the guy wearing his own shirt?
Well, it's free. Why wouldn't you wear it? He has boxes of them.
Well, I wear a shirt with my book logo on it, and you guys are like, "Oh, Dad's wearing his shirt." Why is that? Why does that get that reaction, and yet the other gets the opposite? Because I'm Dad, and I don't count, right? That's okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, Dad's book. But Homestuck, that's this guy's thing. All right, so I have to ask you. We're gonna switch gears. We've discussed Hussey and North and Green to death, right?
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Austin.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it.
All right. Go.
What's a squiddle?
A squiddle is a little squid. It's a fictional TV show within the comic, like Sweet Boy and Howlin' Jeff. Now, it's not available anywhere. It's not real. But the ongoing gag on the internet is that they joke about that it was a real show in the 90s. Like, people will make fake Squiddle VHS tapes and fake Squiddle merchandise, even though it was completely fake and just made up for Homestuck. One of the characters, Jade Hawley, watched it as a little child and has posters of it in her bedroom and has the plushies everywhere because it makes her nostalgic. And that's where Squiddles comes from.
Do we know the plot of Squiddles?
It's mostly fan-made. There's a Squiddles music album that's official, and if you buy it, you get a little download flash movie of what the opening of the show would be like.
Do we have any idea you probably have seen that a million times, right?
Skipper Plumthroat, the sea captain, is trying to kill the little cute squid. It's like Smurfs.
Oh, okay, so it's animated.
Yeah, it's animated.
Okay, it's not like that fake Too Many Cooks intro that showed up online a couple weeks ago. Too many cooks.
It's animated.
Okay, it's animated. Squiddles.
It's Skipper Plumthroat, the captain, trying to kill all the little squiddles in their village.
It sounds like Snorks.
Yeah,
like
Snorks.
If you don't know what Snorks were, folks, in the 80s we had Smurfs, and we also had knockoffs, which were underwater Smurfs called Snorks. It wasn't even a far cry. Like, it was not even clever at all. It was the same exact show, except they had bubbles flying up every once in a while to imitate being underwater. So Squiddles begets Duddles.
Duddles.
And
yes.
Duddles are what?
So, Duddle is a cross between a Squiddle plushie and Charles Dutton.
Charles Dutton, the actor.
Yes.
The guy from Rock. Not The Rock, but the TV show Rock. And the guy from Alien 3. The big mega hit Alien 3. Did you know that Charles Dutton, before he became an actor, he got his start on Broadway. But before that, he was in prison for manslaughter. He accidentally killed somebody, which is probably that infamy that got him a very special place in Homestuck, because Hussey, above all things, seems to collect the darker parts of pop culture. He doesn't like Christopher Reeve's Superman. He likes Nick Cage's Superman. The version of Superman you never saw, directed by Tim Burton, who didn't really direct it, where Superman neither flew, wore a cape, or wore red and blue, right?
Yeah.
So how does Charles Dutton get crossed with a Squiddle? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
So in the comic, they have a whole thing called alchemizing, which is they take the cards their inventory system runs on in the game, and they lay them on top each other, and you can, in the game, punch holes into the card and put it in a machine and it replicates it. John discovers that if you put two cards on top each other, then punch the cards, the items sort of meld together into one thing, which if you can do it right, can make you some cool things. It's called alchemizing. Jade Harley has a drawing pad where she doesn't have to put things in her inventory. She can draw it, and it'll put like a ghost version of it in her inventory. And she draws just scribbles to see what she could get, and it turns out to be Charles Dutton. Her bunch of scribbles is perceived as Charles Dutton to the game.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Hussey said it took him half an hour of drawing scribbles over Charles Dutton's head to try to get scribbles that kind of look random, but also could pass as Charles Dutton's face.
He must have had some... Let me ask you this, before we continue with Duddles. Is Andrew Hussey on drugs? Has he ever admitted to doing drugs?
No.
No. So this is all fueled by what? Red Bull and Monster drinks?
Fago,
right? We'll get to Fago in a minute. Any more about Duddles? This character, okay.
It's worth...
You guys have talked about Duddles, off and on for a while, and I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's half a page in one of the comics.
He's made in a couple pages, and then he shows up again in Act 6 on one page.
He's so minor of a character.
He's very minor, but he's still a character.
Why do you guys focus in
so
on the most obscure parts?
She makes the Duddle, and it just spawns there, and she says, "You made a Duddle!" You know, I think I'm going to keep my distance from the Duddle from now on. And she just, stares at it. She makes Dutton specs. She crosses her glasses with Charles Dutton, and she gets glasses that allow you to see Charles Dutton.
That's so absolutely absurd.
Then she makes Johnny Five
from Short Circuit.
Yeah, okay. And she gets so angry. She hates Johnny Five so much. She throws him out the window and he breaks.
What's happening? How long does this sequence go on in the comic?
They all have alchemizing sprees. It's sort of a reoccurring thing in the comic, where for about 30 pages they just goof off and make weapons and outfits and stuff with alchemizing. She crosses together. She makes Iron Man's giant cannon, a Gundam actual-size mech, and a suit of armor. And she says, "This is going to make the best thing ever. I'm going to beat the game with this item. You make Johnny Five." And she throws it out the window again.
The best laid plans of mice and men, right?
And then the narrator's just like, "Johnny Five, good for nothing. He doesn't have emotions. He's a robot. All he can do is read books really quickly."
Oh my God.
We're still waiting for the moment where they have to read a book really quickly, and Johnny Five saves the day, but it hasn't happened.
Is there some element of Ready Player One in this thing? Or am I just saying that because Hussey just collects pop culture references?
It's really just the same way it's a collective of pop culture references, and everything takes place within a game construct and follows video game logic.
Well, that's actually, I was a lot closer than I thought then.
Yeah.
Because that's the plot of Ready Player One.
Yes.
But Ready Player One is like high concept, in, out, quick story, done. It's not there's not even a sequel possibility of Ready Player One. If you don't know what we're talking about, Ready Player One's a novel about a kid who in the far future, not too far, people live online on a computer program called the Oasis, and the Oasis was designed by a guy obsessed with 80s culture, so every 80s movie, TV, cartoon reference is involved, and he's looking for a video game Easter egg. So it is kind of similar, a little bit.
Sort of, yes.
I could see where if you were a fan of Homestuck, you would probably instantly be a fan of Ready Player One.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it has a lot of the same shtick in it.
Mm-hmm. It's the same type of comedy.
Yeah. And apparently both the author of that and Homestuck just borrow whatever they want from pop culture with no rhyme or reason
Yeah.
to who owns it. It's like, no, we're just taking it.
Well,
Because I don't think Charles Dutton has any concept he's been crossed with a squid.
As far as we know, Dante Basco knows, and I have actually been told by Waitzel on Reddit that, 20th Century Fox?
Yeah.
Who made Con Air? Was it 20th Century Fox?
No, Con Air was made by
Touchstone, right?
Touchstone. Yeah,
Well-
it's a Disney movie.
Every cell of the Homestuck album that contains How Do I Live, Disney gets a cut from the actual fan
Yeah.
cells.
So it's legit.
and Fox gets a cut from the Armageddon song.
I don't want to miss a thing.
I know you don't, but what's the name of the song? Give us a few bars of it.
No,
Come on, Austin.
No.
I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you. Hey, it's terrible.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
It's
Bowman
terrible.
sings it purposefully bad.
Well, so did I. Everyone's like, oh my God, get that guy off the show. You can't, folks. It's my show. All right, so we moved. What were we going to talk about? We skipped from Duddles to something else you were going to talk about.
Charles Dutton also invented heaven in the comic. They talk about when you die, you go to dream bubbles, which are these little bubbles out in paradox space between the universes, just out in nowhere. Your soul goes there. And Charles Dutton was the one who wrote the book all about them, and somehow we don't know.
But he's a character.
He's in on it, yeah.
All right, so here's what you mentioned earlier. You mentioned Faygo. What is Faygo? There are a lot of people listening who are like, I know exactly what Faygo
Yeah.
is. I'm drinking it right now. Faygo's a drink, but it's what is it?
It's a cream soda.
Yeah.
It's mostly an East Coast thing. That's why Hussey knows it.
Right, it's a regional drink
Yes.
like Moxie or Bubble Up or like Cactus Cooler.
In Homestuck, it's referred to as the Wicked Elixir, and it's only drank by the highest subjugulators.
Subjugulators?
Yes, those are the subjugulated. Those are subjugator juggalos.
So you're going to invoke the insane clown posse.
Those are blasphemy to his religion.
Just so you know, it took us 2.5 hours for you to bring up insane clown
Yes.
posse, which again are somehow mixed up in the plot of Homestuck.
Yep.
So Faygo is a regional drink. It's drunk by the characters.
Yes.
And out here in California, where we're located, you can only get it at specialty stores. And you guys really like Faygo.
Yeah.
But it's not
Good.
available anywhere.
We had to
No.
go to Alien Beef Jerky to get it.
Right. You're talking about the alien beef jerky in
Baker.
in Baker on the way to Las Vegas.
Yes.
So if I was like, hey, look, guys, we want to get some Faygo, it's a 3-hour drive.
Yep.
But,
Yes.
but worth every minute.
Yeah. But in the East Coast, they have the Faygo aisle in supermarkets. It's like
Not-
everywhere.
Not so much here.
Yeah.
And you guys save your Faygo bottles, too.
Yes.
You can't throw
It
that
comes in
away.
glass over here.
It's Faygo. Faygo.
Yes.
Which sounds vaguely offensive. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I'll be honest.
Trolls' bodies are set up differently from ours. To them, sugar is like drugs. They get crazy off the stuff.
It's not different in
So-
any way from giving
But
sugar
no,
to small
no.
children.
I mean, but it's like to the point
I
where
say-
Faygo is an outlawed alcoholic beverage. It's like
like-
as big crazy as you can get.
so it's the top drug.
The subjugulator is the
The subjugulator. I love how that you say it so matter of fact. It's the most ridiculous word I've ever heard. You're like, well, the subjugulator. The subjugulator.
It's actually subjugulator, but no one says that because it's not as pleasing to
It
the
doesn't
tongue.
roll off the
Yeah.
tongue like subjugulator.
Yes. He's second in command in the troll universe. So he gets all the booze, the Faygo, and he kills people, and it's terrible stuff. It comes from Hussey's old comic where clowns were crazy.
And okay, so the insane clown posse are somehow in charge, right?
in the Alpha universe, in which Betty Crocker, who is an alien troll, she...
Don't.
I'm making jumps here.
Yeah, you're jumping too far, because Betty Crocker's a whole other topic.
I can't go over Insane Clown Posse without her,
Oh,
so I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah, go ahead. This is
In the-
it. This is
yes.
what we're here for. Everybody's tuned in like, what? I've been waiting for this.
In Act 1 through 4, John he doesn't like Betty Crocker. His dad bakes a lot, so all this kid has for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is Betty Crocker products. Betty Crocker, for his birthday, he gets like 10 cakes of Betty Crocker. But and then jump to the Troll universe. The Troll universe, they have a queen, the Imperious Condescension. She finds a way to travel to the kid's universe, and she is Betty Crocker. She goes there and sets up a bakery as her enterprise because because of the troll's relation to sugar, and she tries to take over the world through Betty Crocker. That fails because John blows the world up in 2009.
But she is Betty Crocker. She invented Betty Crocker.
She invented Betty
Because
Crocker.
Betty
yeah.
Crocker's
She
not a
came
real
here and
person.
invented Betty Crocker. Yes. She's married to John's grandfather. And then in the Alphaverse, after they reset their game, she tries it again. She teleports to that universe and tries it again. This time she succeeds, and she uses her Crocker empire to take over the world. And she puts in charge 3 people in charge of the world. The 2 guys in the Insane Clown Posse and Guy Fieri.
Because of cooking.
Because Betty Crocker.
You're talking about Guy Fieri, the guy from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yes.
With the frosted hair and the sunglasses on the back of his
He
neck.
becomes the Grand Senator of the United States of America, which the capital now resides in Washington, D.C., or Dark Carnival.
Because of the juggalos.
Yeah.
Yeah, me Shaggy Two Dope.
Washington Dark Carnival.
Was it Sweet J and Shaggy Two Dope or something?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Some tie into Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff. We don't quite get it.
Do you know what would happen if you dressed in your Homestuck gear and went to a meeting of the Juggalos?
Yes.
You'd be dead within 10 minutes. Like, they wouldn't put up with you for a second. The Juggalo Nation, right? They're hardcore, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're the kind of convention where they have to move around a lot because the place where they hold it will not let them come back. But somehow they're part of the Homestuck universe.
Yes.
God, that's really funny.
It ends up with both of them getting beheaded by alternate universe Dave, and Guy Fieri, Rose ends up stabbing needles through his eyeballs and writing his body off the Niagara Falls,
Which is now Fago.
which is now pure Fago. It spits out.
How is Niagara Falls Fago
We
Falls?
don't know. It's funny, so it's why.
Oh, it's hilarious
When
because it makes no sense.
When it comes to the subjugulators, anywhere in canon, Gamzee or the insane. Anytime in canon the Mirthful Messiah religion is in play, they get a special canon ability, which is the ability of comedy. If something is funny or unfunny, if something's funny, then no matter how much canon sense it makes, they can do it. Gamzee can break any law he wants in the comic because it's funny. He can't die because it's like the Roger Rabbit. He can't pull his hand out of the
the handcuffs
because-
until it's funny.
Until it's funny.
And he literally cannot until it's funny.
Gamzee can't die until it's funny. We've chopped him in half. We've kicked him off cliffs. We've
Shot him down with a machine gun.
Shot him with a machine gun for 20 pages straight. But he can't die till it's funny.
All right.
What is it called? Canon immunity?
Yeah.
Something like this.
You
some
can't bring
theory
down
name
the
for it.
clown.
You can't bring down the clown is the joke.
You can't bring down the clown.
Yes, that's the joke. And until the characters somehow find a way to bring down the clown into a funny joke, they can't kill him.
Now, we used to watch Drivers, Dine-Ins, and Dives a lot before we, Guy Fieri just sort of run his course in my house. But you guys would watch it every time he would appear on screen, you would say the same thing.
Yes.
What would you say?
He is liable for the death of 7 billion people.
And I would just look at you like you're crazy. And you'd go, that's the guy.
That's a direct quote from the
Yeah.
comic.
He's responsible for the death of 7 billion people. That's the Guy Fieri. And I'm like, that guy just ate like a tuna fish sandwich. How is it so... How is it so awful? What went wrong?
He systematically killed 7
Yeah.
billion people.
Yeah, he didn't do it personally. He by placing the insane clown posse into power.
Yes.
He
He's-
inadvertently caused that by like a chain of events, is what you're saying.
Sort of.
He's the Antichrist of the Dot Carnival.
Yes. He's only...
That's his role.
That part of canon is only explained in a few pages, but it's hard to tell exactly what happened. But they took power, and Guy Fieri took power as Grand Senator of the Congress, and ICP was elected as the presidents of the United States, the twin presidents. And over a few hundred years, all of humanity was wiped out. They just did not survive that. With having 90% of the Earth's water exchanged for Faygo, they just didn't make it.
It might make bathing difficult.
Yes.
If every time you turn on the tap,
By the end, though,
Faygo comes
yeah,
out.
By the end, the Condis, who's a aquatic troll, she eventually floods the entire world because she's aquatic. She's got to
With
have
water
that.
or Faygo?
With water this time.
With water. Okay,
Because
thank goodness.
Guy Fieri and ICP are humans. They get killed off.
Now, this is not on Earth. You're talking about an alternate Earth,
This is
right?
Earth after they reset their game.
Reset their game. What does that mean?
The kids fail playing the game, so they scratch it, which is basically scratching the disc. So they have to hit reset on their game, which the resetting their game is a specific thing. So much setup.
Well, go for it.
the kids
Take a
are
deep
all-
breath and go for it.
The kids are paradoxical ectobiology clones of themselves. They're all created by... Ooh.
Sorry, your mom just brought in 3 giant plates of cookies.
John gets to the ectobiology lab within the game, and it's a special machine that it's supposed to be able to teleport you in. But instead, it teleports through time. So if you try to teleport your past self into the present, then it says you can't do that. It'd cause a paradox. So instead, you get ecto slime, which is set up in Ghostbusters. And it's just a goopy outline of you. But you can use this slime to make a paradoxical clone of yourself, which is a clone of yourself that is someday destined to become yourself. The baby will get sent back in time and become you, who will make the baby and get sent back in time and create you, and so on and so forth.
So it's kind of like Kyle Reese being sent back in time by John Connor.
Yeah.
John Connor knowing that Kyle Reese was going to be his father eventually.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's one person sending himself back over and over
Okay.
again.
All right.
Now, the thing with the game is...
I just let the people listening know who listened to the first 2 episodes, I resisted every urge to make a million Back to the Future references. So please continue.
The thing with the game is on the outskirts of the game session, there's a ring of meteors. What you're supposed to do is put a baby on each meteor. Because at the end of the game, those meteors get sent to Earth, to blow up your planet, whatever you came from. But the special meteors the babies are on get sent back in time down to Earth, where your guardian finds you so you can one day grow up to play the game. What the Scratch does, we finally make it back to the Scratch, took all that. What the Scratch does is it changes what time your meteor spawns. The first time around, John's grandpa appeared in the early 1900s, and John landed in the late 1990s. So in the Scratched world, it flipped that. So John was born in the 1900s, and his grandpa ended up in the 1990s. And that's what makes the universe different. And having those kids in different time periods is what set off the Condis to be able to take power this time.
All right, did you get all that, folks? People listening who are Homestuck fans are like, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Of course, the babies are on the asteroids.
Yeah,
of course
babies
it
are
is.
on the asteroids.
It's just the way it goes. It's Armageddon, not Deep Impact. Armageddon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go right back to Aerosmith. Don't want to close. All right. What's on your list now? We got time for one more topic.
Octopimp, Broadway Cocktail.
Octopimp. That's it, man.
Octopimp.
Oh, come on.
I
Why
was
did you...
doing his voice earlier at the Gamzee.
Oh, let's hear some Octopimp.
Oh, what
Come
should I
on,
do?
Gamzee,
What should I do?
come on.
I just did Gamzee.
Tavros?
I can do a Tavros. It's not very good.
His voices in general aren't very good.
Oh snap! Where?
So,
Love me fast, Octopimp. That was my Octopimp impression, not my Eridan impression.
Austin, tell us, enlighten us on the world of Octopimp.
Octopimp is, or was, he doesn't do it anymore, was a Homestuck voice actor who voiced sort little Homestuck internet comics that people do on Tumblr. And he voiced practically every character in the comic, reading as those characters. Remember, there's no voices in the comic. You read it. So he did voices. And his voices aren't really good. That's the problem. But his videos on YouTube were so well watched that the fandom has latched onto those voices and see those as the canon voices. And it's more than just the voices. He doesn't know the characters very well in his comics. He, reduces them to one small thing about the character, and that's the whole character. Yeah, basically. Eridan's a really good example, or Equius especially.
How lewd.
Yeah, he doesn't talk like that in the comic or act like that at all. But Octopimp even admitted he came up with his Equius voice and personality after reading one page of the character. That's it, one page.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the characters very well.
Thinking of voices for the characters as they were introduced. So it was just off whatever their first chat log was. That's their entire character. That's who their voice is. Except he changed Equius. Equius was a snivelly guy because he was gross. And no, that was immediately a no.
Do we know the origins of the name Octopimp?
No.
Because I think it's funny, in modern times, the word pimp has come to mean, a guy who's good with women. Yeah, that guy's a pimp. But, see, when I grew up, a pimp was a criminal. He was a guy who made women go out and become prostitutes, and he took all their money. And I'm not sure how we've gotten so far in society and so wrong that the word pimp is being thrown about as something to be proud of, like YOLO or some crap like that. I don't get that at all. But his name is Octopimp.
Octopimp. I don't know has he ever said? It just sort of thing.
Yeah, it just sort of exists.
He probably made up long before Homestuck, and it just sort of stuck with him.
Yeah, sure, but he's not involved in canon anyway, right? He's just
he is
fringe
involved.
guy.
A little. Okay.
There's a whole
things.
character based off him.
One is the small references. Every now and then, Hussey will use a phrase, and the fans are like, "That Hussey's never used that in the that was an Octopimp comic. That phrase was from." When Dirk goes God tier, He has these little pants. Hussey calls them pantaloons, but Octopimp is like, "Oh, those are poofy little pants." So when he shows up in the comic next time, Dirk's like, "I'm wearing my poofy little pants here," and he just took it right from Octopimp.
So that goes to what we were saying in the other episode, where because Homestuck is so long and exhausting, eventually Hussey just finds fandom stuff to latch onto and throws it in, saves me the trouble.
Entire characters now. Cronus is just Octopimp spoof. He's Eridan's alternate reset game self, and he just took Octopimp's character as Eridan's character and plugged it right in.
Because Octopimp interprets Eridan so badly, he made badly interpreted Eridan his own character.
Yeah.
The whole character is just a
And
parody
then
of
there's
Octopimp.
Union Jack,
Yeah, who's a
which is
parody.
Spade Slick from the Reset universe. There's a major theorist, Blade Kind Eyewear.
Oh no!
Oh, boy.
Oh, we're touching eye. Why this
dual
topic?
Octopimp Blade Eye here. They kind of go hand in hand.
All right,
Oh
do it.
yeah,
He's the number one theorist in Homestuck.
number one in quotation marks.
He's okay. Some of his theories. The
No,
problem is
no, they're not.
he makes theories based off theories. Fans will try to theorize what's going to happen in the next update, and he'll say, "No, that can't happen because remember when I said this was going to happen? But if that happens, then this happens, so that can't happen."
The irony is that in the next few hundred pages that Hussey's writing right now,
Yes.
if one BYB theory goes wrong, everything he's ever said is completely unimportant and nonsense.
Yes, because he bases things off things. So if the initial thing is gone, then 10 theories are destroyed.
And I send asks to him a lot because I like to. I used to like speculating with him.
Yeah.
But he is such a jerk.
yeah,
He's so rude.
He got in a huge fight with Rachel from What Pumpkin, and she won't talk to us anymore. He drove her out.
He drove out of the entire fandom.
Yeah. She used to post during the Gigapause. She posted on the Reddit almost daily and the forums almost daily. Then she got into this huge fight with BYB, and she hasn't talked to us since.
She was arguing at BYB that he is overanalyzing a simple comic and putting too much thought into
She
it.
started spoiling stuff for him. BYB kept saying, "My theories are true. You'll all see." And Rachel says, "Hi, I'm very personal with Andrew. I've seen the rest of the comic, and you're wrong." And he was like, "No, I have to be right."
Have you ever given thought to maybe the reason Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
The reason Rachel is gone is that Hussey just got tired of being her.
We thought about
And
that.
shut it
yes.
down?
Yeah.
We've thought about that. Yes.
Yeah, that could be possible.
Yeah. Hussey didn't talk to us for 12 months, but Rachel was very talkative.
And you've never seen her.
No.
And she only exists as a name.
Yeah.
She
does
does-
some
All right,
comics on Twitter.
all right, we're calling you out right now on the 91 Reasons podcast. Rachel, if you're a real person, please contact us via our Facebook page so that in the next episode we can confirm 100% that you're a real person. Thank you. Also, tell Hussey we want the game. Anyway. All right. All right, we're going to wrap up at that point because there's still lots more to talk. We're nearing an hour on this episode.
There's still so much to cover.
I know. That's we can journey once again into the realms of the Scratch and the Homestuck and the third world ICP. What'd you call it?
Subjugulators.
The subjugulators. Ladies and gentlemen, the subjugulators. Yeah. All right, so we've learned a lot more about Homestuck as we continue our journey. Like I said, go ahead and give your name again and sign off.
This is Austin.
This is Luna.
And this is the voice, Jeff Tucker. You're listening to 91 Reasons. Thanks for tuning in for another Homestuck-centric episode. We will keep doing these until we literally run out of things to say. Is that impossible?
Yeah, that could go on for
Especially
hundreds
with
of
still
episodes.
updating.
You could just keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could.
Like if I said, look, we're going to take a break and then do another hour, you could do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Easily.
God, it never ends.
We
never-
off this paper in front of us, and I've already thought of 10 more things
Yeah.
to add
Well,
to
you
it.
better keep writing.
We never talked about Broadway Call Cat or Gary's Mod.
Yeah, we have to get all that on the next episode of 91 Reasons. The best way to support 91 Reasons, if you like what we're doing, is go to iTunes, subscribe, give us a review. We love reviews on iTunes. I am the author of 3 books you can find on Amazon.com. The Sixth Key, The Lost Station, and my new book, The Infinite Backward by me, Jeff Tucker. They're available in either paperback or as a Kindle download for 99 cents. If you're a member of Amazon Prime, you can download the books for free, and I think I make about 35 cents. But hey, it's only because we're friends. Right? Guy Fieri? Guy Fieri? See, Guy Fieri was going to... He's been to Knott's Berry Farm before where I work. And it's very hard to like look at him and not think like Homestuck and he was responsible for all these deaths. And really the guy's just like, oh yeah, this is the greatest cheeseburger I've ever had in my life. Like it's so weird to have him be a character in this thing that you guys are so passionate about. And every time we see Betty Crocker products, you guys freak out or like it's just so funny. Remember the girl dressed as Betty Crocker at Shifty Look?
Yeah,
You
they
ever-
had a bowl of Betty Crocker tweets even.
Did you get her number? She was really good looking. That's not what the fandom's about. There's no dating allowed.
Well, that's a whole other topic. There's 4 types of
Whole other topic.
There's 4 types of love in Homestuck.
Homestuckmatchmaker.tumblr.com is still my dating site that never got used because no one's submitting stuff.
I love it. See, folks, Homestuck continues forever. Well, we're going to sign off here, but we want to thank you for listening to the greatest show ever created here in our home in Riverside. And that show is called what? 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening? You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
All right, welcome. It's Christmas Eve. What are you doing up if you're listening tonight? Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is supposed to take off in his sleigh tonight and deliver candy corn horns. Candy corn horns and scale mates to good little Homestucks all over the earth, because this is a magical time. Yes, I'm talking about one of the greatest times of all. Welcome to episode 4 of the Homestuck Mania here on 91 Reasons. I am your host, Jeff Tucker. I'll be joined very soon by my amazing Homestuck immersed co-hosts. But before they get here, we just want to remind you what the season's truly about. Yes, it's about getting together with friends and family, drinking your Faygo, and playing the just-released Gary's Mod Homestuck Edition pack, which the Homestucks at this house have been doing for, 12 hours straight, and they haven't stopped. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're using us as your late night fall asleep Christmas, we love that. We'll tuck you into bed right now with the sultry sounds of Homestuck as it glides through your ear and disintegrates all the sugar plums that were dancing there originally and replaces them with finely baked Betty Crocker products. Betty Crocker products that you can carry around in your buckets, and you can have the time of your life. Well, I vamped enough because my co-hosts are here. We'd like to welcome everybody. Episode 4, if you're keeping score, which, of course, we are, because I have to spend now 12 hours figuring out where does the 4 go in the Homestuck logo on the 91 Reasons page. Welcome, my co-hosts. Go ahead, introduce yourselves.
Austin?
I'm Luna.
Yeah? And what exactly are you guys doing right now? Right now, what is this?
We're drinking Faygo.
Faygo.
So you received Faygo for Christmas. Describe to the listeners your Christmas Eve present you just received. What was it?
It's Faygo. What do you mean, and Faygo?
It was a whole thing.
Yeah. Faygo,
Oh, that's why.
Toblerone, little picture of Hussey.
Even had sweet.
It wouldn't be Christmas without the jolly old man himself, Andrew Hussey.
He's out there enjoying Christmas, not knowing there's all these pictures of him getting given out to children everywhere.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. We wish you a Hussey Christmas. We wish you a Hussey Christmas. That's what's going on here.
The bucket even had a Sweetbo comic on the side.
Sweet bro. And what Sweetbo comic was it?
It's the one where he's putting jelly on a hot god.
Yeah, let's hear it for that, yes. All right, so like I alluded at the top of the hour, the top of the show, Gary's Mod came out. Now, explain briefly before you get into what the update was today. What is Gary's Mod? And we're only doing it so that all the people listening are like, yes, I know exactly. Go ahead, keep going.
Gary's Mod is a modification for Half-Life 2 that makes it so you can spawn any prop in the game or any of the WAG dolls or NPCs used.
All of Valve's source games run the same source engine, and this guy named Gary said, instead of making a game with the source engine, I'm just going to hook it up so you guys can play around with whatever you want. So now we have it where we can make our own little things and play around with them.
So Gary's Mod sounds to me like Minecraft, but with good graphics.
Yeah, it's Minecraft, but with any modern graphic. If you can rip it from a video game, you can plug it into Gary's Mod and play around with it.
Now, you've been spending your time making Homestuck items for Gary's Mod, right?
Yes. I just got into 3D modeling, so I'm not good enough to, baby fawn legs to make the play set and everything, but I can make little items to play with.
And give yourself a plug. If people want to find your items, how do they find them in the game?
Just look up Homestuck Model Pack in the Gary's Mod Workshop on Steam. If you type, she may have beaten me now, but if you type in Homestuck, it used to be the first thing to come up.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the first to come up anymore, because what happened today?
The Homestuck playset 2 came out today.
Baby Fondlegs made the Homestuck playset a couple years ago and has been updating it ever since, where she made every character in little chibi form and a bunch of items for him to play around with. She hasn't updated that in over a year until today, when she updated that and released the sequel, where she took the time to model complete full-size characters now, and special weapons for all of them.
So you can play a full game immersed in Homestuck imagery.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Because you were playing a game where they tell you you're the killer and everyone has to find you before you kill everybody or something to that effect.
The Forever Stuck server is already playing Trouble in Terrorist Town, but fully modified to be Homestuck.
It's a game mode where one person is the Mordor. Now, this game mode is normally played with generic characters, whipped from Counter-Strike source, but now they've plugged it in with Homestuck characters. So you can play as any character you want.
All right, that sounds great. That sounds like your weekend is set. And you're taking a break from that with your Faygo in hand to deliver Homestuck goodness to all the little Homestucks all over the world. We've gotten huge numbers on these episodes, so people know who you are.
Ooh.
Oh, it's great, right? Isn't fame great? Isn't it amazing that strangers know who you are? I guess. Okay, so looking at the list, what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, boy.
There's so many things to choose from. We talked about Duddles and Squiddles and Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff and Hot God. I told you about the stairs, bro.
You want to talk about Wizardy Hobart?
Yeah, you were talking about something earlier that you wanted to bring up.
Wizardy Herbert?
Wizardy what?
Wizardy Herbert is Hussey's unfinished novel. He really doesn't want us reading it, but we read it anyways. The MSPA forums about a year and a half ago back, 2.5 now, because, yeah, about 2.5 years ago, they found a page hosted on MSPA that was nothing but a 200-page novel by Hussey that he was for hosting on the site for whatever reason. He took it down, but there's still archives all over if you just Google it.
Yeah, there's one thing we've learned from Twitter is that the internet is forever. If you post something for a second, everybody has it all of a sudden.
He posted it on an unlisted page on the website. We found it, archived it, and we have it forever now.
And what is it called again?
Wizardy Herbert.
Wizardy Herbert. And what is that?
It's a spoof of Harry Potter about a kid who thinks he's going to an accounting camp to learn accounting, but his parents tricked him. He's going to a boring old wizard camp with these crazy old wizards. And they're using wizard as the most dictionary term you can get, which is crazy old people. They're literal hobos in the forest. And it leads on this giant Hussey-style story where it starts off small and ends up with Ronald Reagan flying around as a half-robot, and they're trying to discover this. It has something to do with they're all characters in a book, them realizing how they're characters in a book, but it's only like a third of the book finished, so we don't really know what happens next.
But isn't that indicative of most of Hussey's work? That he starts crap, he doesn't finish, or he'll get to it later, or in the case of Homestuck, he just never stops. It just keeps going.
Problem Sleuth has the only real ending in all of Hussey history. It's the only thing to ever end by him.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Wow.
Not even Whistles was finished.
What's Whistles?
Whistles is, before MSPA even started, Hussey had a comic book series. He only got one volume, which was 6 chapters out, and then the second one's online unfinished. And that's it. That's all he ever did.
Well, naturally, it's unfinished.
It's unfinished.
He even published the first part.
The first one is fully published. You get it on Amazon. The second one is only on archives, uncolored, unshaded, on anything. Just the raw comic.
So, let me ask you, is the lesson learned here that you should just keep plinging at it and not make one thing your life's work because you never know what's headed to you afterwards? Like, I just don't understand that. I guess I don't have that kind of mentality because my mentality is start something, finish it, then move on to the next. But he seems to be like, he's like sampling here and sampling there, and maybe he'll start this. He's like at a buffet of writing, little dish here, little dish there, but occasionally we'll finish dishes. I don't know,
He tries to play it off by having each thing kind of flow into the next. There are parts of Homestuck you can't understand unless you've read Wizardy Herbert.
But that's not fair because Wizardy Herbert wasn't meant to be read.
No, he made an archive that he's told the fans, please don't read it. It's kind of my personal thing, and then references it in the comic. You don't get the references unless you've read it.
Didn't he just reference it like a few updates ago?
Yeah, the whole anything to do with John and Roxy being shipped together is all a giant Wizardy Herbert reference.
Yeah,
and 90% of the comic right now they're reenacting Wizardy Herbert.
One of the characters even writes Wizardy Hobart fanfiction in the comic that nobody's going to get unless they read the comic.
But that's the fun thing, is her Wizardy Herbert fanfiction in Homestuck finishes Wizardy Herbert. You can have to read the 200 pages of Wizardy Herbert, And then if you go to the page where Roxy's writing her in her diary and read those 3 pages, that wraps up the rest of Wizardy Herbert.
So how long ago was that?
Roxy wrote her journal
2 years ago?
a little less than 2 years ago.
So has somebody taken that and finished Wizardy Herbert and then put it in a finished final form? Like, here it is?
No, not really. There's no threaded together article yet. No, you got to read it in pieces.
A lot of fans won't read it.
A lot of people won't even read it.
Like-
Late-Eyed Kindware, the #1 theory in the fandom, he refuses to read it because Hussey told him not to.
Despite the fact that if he read it, he'd realize every one of his theories is wrong.
Yeah.
But that's like when George Lucas says don't watch the original versions of Star Wars, only the special editions. You'd be missing out on the better version.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
can't. Sometimes the creators don't know how to deal with their own creations. And I'm not saying that in Hussey's case, but I am saying that in George Lucas's case, that it simply became too big for him. And he couldn't keep all the threads together in a coherent form, so his way of fixing it was retconning. But doesn't Hussey do that a lot too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's
Like,
it's
that's
part
the
of the
plot.
story.
That's the plot is retconning. It's
there's-
wink, 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 we're retconning.
There's been a few times in the story that it's been retconned for other reasons, and there's like you're not even supposed to talk about them. They're very notorious.
Well, we should talk about
Yeah,
it.
we should talk about
We
them.
should, yeah.
Go
The
ahead.
tricksters.
Austin,
The
tell
tricksters.
us.
So, how do you explain what tricksters is? In the Homestuck walk-around flashes, you could hit what buttons
You
is
could
it?
Control-Alt-T to do a cheat code where they went trickster mode, which is they get all
Sugary.
sugary, yeah,
Hyped up.
cheery, hyped up. It's a cheat code.
And it actually happens to one of the characters mechanically through the story. So what happens is the character gets pink hair, a lollipop in their hair, and their skin turns Caucasian. Now, Homestuck characters don't have a skin color. They're just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they don't have one.
white.
All white. But they turn Caucasian when they go trickster mode. And then the character says, I feel so Caucasian. Now, Hussey had to change that.
Yep, he got so much bad rap from his fans yelling at him. It now says,
I feel so peachy.
yeah, peachy. No, get
No.
No.
Doesn't
It's
make any sense.
Caucasian.
The joke doesn't make any
The
sense.
joke doesn't make any sense.
No.
That seems to be a recurring thread of Homestuck. It doesn't make any. It'll make sense eventually.
Yeah. There's no canon payoff for this, though. This is literally, he changed the comic because the people on Tumblr were saying he was racist. Because he said the word Caucasian. That's a racist word to say.
Yeah.
How is Caucasian racist?
We don't know.
Because he was making fun of the fans' headcanons that character was
Yeah.
black, saying, no, that character's white.
Little
He's-
headcanons?
He's the creator though.
Exactly.
He gets to pick what color
Yeah,
somebody is.
but the fans argue it's not his creation. It's theirs, and they're ruining it. Their headcanons.
Ruining their headcanons. Like, in the first couple acts, John says that Dave's bro's a white rapper. And the people who started reading years later, after that page was even posted, started yelling at him. You can't say the characters are a certain skin color. So, for a while it said, wow, Dave, your brother's a white, and then it's just computer glitches.
Yeah, he just kind of scribbled over it. Literally.
Hussey actually got mad at that one and said, you know what, you all, I'm changing it back. So now it says white rapper still.
Yeah.
White rapper.
Dave's bro is a white rapper. No matter what fans draw him as black, he's a white rapper.
And that's somehow racist.
Yes, because it's going against the fans who say he's black.
Oh, well, it'd be one thing if early in the comic he was presented as a black character and then changed to a white character.
Yes.
But if you're saying he was never originally anything,
They're all characters are presented as nothing, and then later, through character development, given traits.
because like we know for a fact that in the original version of Star Wars, Han shoots first.
Yeah.
That's just the way it was. That's what made Han so cool. So when they changed it, we all cried foul. And then Lucas said, no. Greedo always shot first. No. We saw it, but that's not the case here.
No. Here they were given he was given a blank slate and then slowly built onto it. He didn't change the groundings of the character.
Yeah. It was also confirmed that the Lalonde's hair is blonde.
Yeah, there's one page where they say the Lalondes are blonde and have white skin, but everyone ignores those pages.
I was talking about that once on a Homestuck forum, and people got so angry with me. Like, what does that mean? And I'm like, what do you mean what it means? I'm just talking about something that was talked about in the comic. The character has blonde hair. And they got really, really angry over it.
But that doesn't make any sense. How can you get angry over something that can be proven with a screenshot as
Yeah.
fact? It can be proven as fact. We're not talking conjecture or ideas or theories. If Hussey prints it, that becomes canon.
Yes.
Your head canon doesn't overwrite creator canon.
Yeah, you can't
It doesn't work that way.
You can't argue with the author.
No.
And it's funny to see that Hussey's realized he only has about 1,000 more pages left to fit stuff in. So he's been trying to slide in more and more headcanon confirmations of what's exactly what. Like, they go off on this really weird tangent that confirms one of the characters' leg hair. Like, that's never been a thing before, but now I'm saying for a fact this is what their leg hair is like before the comic ends, so it's
Yeah.
all written down.
And he just confirmed that the Dragon Girl has like a weird reptilian voice.
Yeah, none of the voices are ever mentioned in comic, but he just went out of his way to talk about one of the characters' voices.
Whose voice?
Terezi. John...
You called it something else, though.
The Dragon Girl, because he's obsessed with dragons.
So Terezi is the dragon girl.
Because
No.
she's Libra, and the Libra sign is scales. So that he does a double play on justice and dragons. Both have scales.
Oh, okay.
She's the one who has the Scalemate dragon
The
plussies.
character traits aren't just, okay, this character's this because I said so. You can track them down to connect it with everything. You can break a lot of it down.
So everything's connected.
Yeah.
Some way.
Even the character
Somehow.
traits. He doesn't just say, this character has this trait because I said so. It all comes together.
But it doesn't seem to matter if somebody's headcanon
Yeah.
doesn't match what they're reading, and they're like, wait a minute, this. But if somebody was that forceful about saying that their opinions are bigger than the creators, why would they continue to read? Why not just give it up?
I don't know.
I mean, I speak from experience because there came a time when the Star Wars stuff that Lucas was spewing in the prequels and the revisionist versions of episodes 4, 5, and 6 that I simply was like, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with it anymore because even the creator can't keep it all straight. So what do you do?
It just, it's that weird split again between the actual comic and the Tumblr
Fandom.
side fandom.
And we're mainly saying Tumblr side. It is
Yeah.
really just the Tumblr side.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to the forums and the Reddit, and they won't throw a fit about headcanons.
No, it's only
or
the
what's
Tumblr
canon.
people are throwing
What
fits.
is the appeal of Tumblr? And like I've seen some Tumblr posts, and it seems to be the worst grammar.
Mm-hmm.
Every word is misspelled. Nothing makes sense. You have to look at it 3 or 4 long minutes to figure out. Like, I don't speak idiot. Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why are the people on Tumblr so happily ignorant like that? I don't understand.
They're a weird, hard to understand bunch.
Yeah.
But you're on there.
Very
Yeah,
rarely.
very
I spend
rarely.
more time on the Reddit now.
I was practically driven out because I got so much hate mail from different Annans.
You got hate mail about what?
I get hate from a lot of people. A big thing that happened was DasCon. DasCon's caused such a big fight on Tumblr, mainly involving me. This is before the con doors opened, before we knew that it was the worst con of all time. People were arguing that this con was, what did they call it? What was the argument over?
They said you're yelling at these people for spending their money on going when all that money could have gone to charity.
That's right. Why spend money on a con when you could hand it to a homeless person? That was the argument.
But these are the people that go to cons.
These are the people that go to cons.
What the hell are you
Because
talking
Dash
about?
Con specifically was a waste of money.
But you
This
didn't
is
know
before
that
we
before-
didn't know that yet.
You didn't know that before it opened.
Yeah.
No, we
we
didn't know
didn't.
that yet.
People were just saying, why would you spend your money to go to cons when you could donate to charity?
There were 2 or 3 years that Wizard World LA was great. We didn't know that the last year it was here was going to be a big waste of time. You don't know that till you get there.
So
Yeah.
I was arguing with them, telling these people are passionate and they look forward to this all year, and this is what they look forward to doing. Now, this is before I knew the con was going to be a total scam. Nobody knew. The doors hadn't opened yet. Of course, all this fighting, it was like 3 or 4 hours of people just yelling at me, and the doors finally opened and the con was a whole letdown. And then we realized we shouldn't even be arguing. This is ridiculous. This whole con was a scam.
So did everybody go on that thread and go, you know what, dude? Your name is? Should we give your name or not?
Yeah, my Tumblr URL, Goot My Fries.
Goont My Fries from Adventure Time. Did they go, you know what, dude? We're really sorry. We're
Not
really
really.
sorry we argued with you. Or did they go, you know what? Screw you.
They
Right or wrong, screw you, buddy.
No, they just stopped sending the hate mail because they were too embarrassed.
But isn't that indicative of most internet sites
Yeah.
where the hate flows easily,
Yeah.
but gratitude, praise, and apology don't exist?
Pretty much.
Give me a break.
The dash card is what got me. There was another instance, and this was the instance I was like, I'm done with Tumblr. This is so dumb.
What was it? Was it the Hussy one?
It was JonTron.
Oh,
we'll do
my
Hussy
God.
next to round it back to Homestuck. But the
JonTron.
worst was JonTron.
That was what clearly got me out of
JonTron
Tumblr.
said the word retard in one of his videos.
No, he didn't
That's
say
it.
retard. He said the PlayStation 4 was retarded.
He said the PlayStation 4 was retarded.
And
that's it. The entire every single person on Tumblr, all these thousands of people said, I will never listen to JonTron again until he apologizes for using the word retarded.
People said JonTron was trash. They wanted to murder him.
Yeah, people were literally sending him death threats because he said the word retarded.
It hurt my heart too because all my favorite Homestuck artists, who are specifically Tumblr artists, a few of them, got really angry towards JonTron, my other heroes. I love JonTron's videos. I met him at Comic-Con. But like they said he was human trash and they wanted to kill him. And I'm like, does saying they were retarded really something worth killing someone over? And sending death threats?
Yeah.
They were sending real death threats to him.
Mm-hmm. And then, rounding it back, the third one was Hussy. There was craziest over Hussy. Everyone felt like they felt bad for him. So everyone was like, "You people are terrible to Andrew Hussy. You're making him cry."
Because he said, "I'm so sorry" on Twitter.
The site crashed and everyone was bugging him. Like, why don't you get the site to work? He's like, Hussy was on there saying, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best."
Of course, it was a joke.
It was a joke. He said, "Guys, that was a joke. I've got it all under control."
What gets
he posted a picture of a book this thick that was this book is nothing but Tumblr URLs and signatures of people, just as a thank you to me. You guys don't have to worry about anything. But it was still at the point where multiple big Tumblr users, Broadway Car Cat being the number one.
That's like my hero right
said,
there.
"You guys, you're being mean to Hussy. I'm leaving forever." And we never heard from him again.
And that's it. Broadway Car Cat dropped off the face of the earth. Now, Broadway Car Cat, out of the anger of this Hussy thing, decided to delete every single one of the music off the internet. So I've been hunting on these weird Wussin sites, downloading all the Broadway Car Cat music left, because they're such good music, and I love to listen to them. If anyone has good quality versions of this music, please tell me.
If you have a good quality Hey Jade,
Yes.
then please come to us. We haven't found one.
It's my favorite song.
There's two on YouTube, and they're really bad.
Yeah, it's my favorite one, and I'm listening to this horrible quality one from what was it, a Wussin site?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm scared to download half of these from the Wussin site because I'm scared it'll give me a virus. But it's the only ones on the internet left. Because they delete all the music.
Yep.
And that's it. They haven't really shown their face again.
So what do you think of this week finding out that Instagram had millions of fake bot users?
Yeah.
And they cracked down on them. So Justin Bieber lost, 3.5 million followers. But I think that's reported wrong. He didn't lose 3.5 million followers.
Never had that
He
many.
never had them.
They were all
You
fake.
know? Yeah, so what's to lose? They were inflated numbers. Do you think that applies to Tumblr as well?
I don't know.
I know it's not related because you guys are talking about actual people that it happened to who had problems. And who gets to decide what words are offensive anymore? Like when I was growing up, people used retarded all the time, and now it's offensive.
Everything's offensive.
Everything nowadays needs a trigger warning.
If you say the word stupid, then you're ableist, and you gotta have all these trigger
But
warnings.
if you go on Tumblr and say the F word, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Curse words are fine.
Cuss words are fine. You can use them and misspell words, and cuss words are fine. But if you say stupid, oh man, you can have death threats. In
I'm
your
different
because
I think using a semi-offensive word as slang isn't a problem, but you offend me greatly if you murder the English language. Like where I work, I see guys wearing those metal militia shirts everywhere, and militia is spelled wrong, like it's spelled phonetically. And I just look at it and go, why would you wear something that's spelled wrong? Like that's just stupid. I don't get that. Like you would never. It's not proper anymore to say that a person is retarded. But an idea being retarded to me is just slang. And I don't see how that's such a big problem.
You're not using it to be negative. It's just as the slang word it is.
yeah.
Right, I'm not saying that your idea has severe developmental disabilities and will never mature past I'm just saying, hey, you know what? Maybe taking this road wasn't the best idea.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And I don't know why you can't. But see, I'm different. I was going to say I don't know why you can't differentiate that. But I'm different because I'm really hard to offend. Like I said, what offends me is is destroying the English language, or even worse, being proud of it. I'm proud, man. I don't know that. I spelled it wrong. Who cares? Whatever. That bothers me. All right. So what's next on your list? We're burning through this.
Skip to something else on the list.
What is it? Why does it say copyright?
Oh,
That's another
controversial
issue.
Yeah.
That's how Hussey won't allow anyone to do anything.
Yeah.
Unless it's a 2D commission that is multi-fandom, you can't do anything legally. Nothing. You can't sell anything Homestuck.
You're talking about in regards to Homestuck.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the missing part. Like, you can't go on Etsy and open up a Homestuck fan shop and start making
No.
clay figures and hats and
No.
flags and
Nope.
coasters. Well, what happens to those people?
They get yelled at.
From what we hear, Rachel from What Pumpkin has a talk with them, and then we never hear from them again.
Tell us your con
They
story.
just disappear off the internet.
You have a funny con story to tell. Come on, tell it.
I was at Anime Expo last year, and there was a Carcat keychain up. Now, next to it was a Terezi keychain and a Gamzee keychain, and they were already post-it noted over. And I tried to buy the Carcat, and they're like, well, we can't sell those. Hussey just was at a booth. He said we can't sell those, or he'll come down on us. And it's like, what?
Were you freaking out because Hussey was at the booth, or because
Yes.
that guy's art was being suppressed?
Yes.
He wasn't even signing at this con.
We don't even know if we've still never been a confirmation it was Hussey himself there. They said it was, though.
But I believe it because I asked Hussey's wife on Reddit, and she got all angry with me.
She said, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, we were there.
and-
You're like, wait a minute.
Something happened.
This is not a story of a friend of a friend. This was me, lady.
Yeah. And Hussey's wife is always so goofy on Reddit.
Yeah.
And they were so serious with me. I'm like, she's definitely lying because...
That's like the Shark Tale guy. I'm not going to be able to confirm or deny that for you, sir. Well, I just want to know about the playset that I'm holding. I can't talk about that, sir. Like, okay, it doesn't exist. This call never happened.
The legalities of it all so weird that Hussey can go up to a random booth in the artist alley and look at all the different fandoms like buttons on the table and point to the Zodiac one and say, you're not allowed to sell that one. You can sell the Avatar and the anime, but that one, that Homestuck one, you can't sell that. That's illegal. That doesn't fall under
Okay, I actually saw this happen at Kamikaze, where they were having an argument where a guy was like, that's my characters and he's making art. And I'm like, dude, every booth here has Superman and Batman, Wolverine, Doctor Who, Benedict Cumberbatch.
There's so much you can't escape it. Just take it as free advertising for your book. That's it. Just take it as advertising.
The Night Vale guys are on there all the time with all the merch they've been picking up. Meanwhile, Rachel from What Pumpkin is posting on her Twitter a picture of all these Homestuck keychains and plushies saying, here's all my swag I got from the con for free this time because I stole it from people who were not allowed to sell it, just confiscating it.
Well, the Night Vale people are also a little guarded about their stuff because I had a Night Vale, something we got at Comic-Con this last Comic-Con 2014. I put it on eBay because I put everything on eBay if I don't want to keep it if we have extras. And I got a letter saying Night Vale is the only profit we get from doing the podcast is through the sale of the merchandise, and we don't allow any third parties to sell. And I'm like, look, this is my item. If I want to sell it, I can sell it. Now, out of respect for them, because they do a podcast, and I was doing a podcast, I took it down. I didn't sell it, and I gave it back to you guys. Mm-hmm. But I could see where some normal person, quote unquote normal person, would just go, take a hike, lady. You can buy it or not. You know,
you gave this to me. Why can't I resell it?
Once it becomes my property, I can do anything I want. That'd be like Honda going, we noticed that you're trying to sell your used Honda. No, Honda dealerships are the only place to in America you can sell almost anything except guns. Even then, sometimes you can sell guns collector to collector.
Night Vale wasn't the best example. A better example is to Cartoon Hangover, and they won the Beat and Puppy Cat and Bravest Warrior tumblers. And if anyone ever posts us selling something on Etsy, they'll reblog it and signal boost it, telling you to buy their stuff.
Come check out this Etsy shop of cool stuff from our show.
So they promote it.
They promote it because it's free advertising.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
It's more apparel and stuff out there to show off that they don't have to do all the tax and stuff.
Well, here's what I would say.
The fans are handling it all.
As a guy who writes books that have characters and settings and vehicles and fun stuff, and that would be the 6 Key series on Amazon.com. usually when that stuff is made, it's because the retailers themselves aren't making it. The crafters and the one-offs and the artists are filling a void. Like, look, how much real Sherlock merchandise is there?
There's a few buttons at Hot Topic.
And a shirt.
A shirt,
maybe
yeah.
2. But if you go on Etsy or on eBay, like, you can get coffee mugs and posters and Benedict Cumberbatch pillows, anything you want, because the big company's not making it. What are you supposed to do?
There's nothing. We were at Shifty Look, and there were 2 Homestucks. Hussey was up signing over there, and there were these 2 Homestucks. Like, okay, you guys got the stuff? Yeah, we got it. And they bring out their bag, and like it's wrapped in bubble wrap, and it's a pair of horns because they're not allowed to sell that. So they're just exchanging the money behind Hussey's back right there.
Oh my God!
Wheel of Fine won't make the horns for about 6 months till after that happened. So they're just doing it behind his back, literally behind his back.
Yeah, like he's sitting over there.
I remember they were selling it off at IHOP. It was literally in a Ziploc bag with
ran
bubble wrap all hidden.
Ran back to IHOP with it.
So at the IHOP Stuck, there were pancakes and bootleg paraphernalia. You're breaking the law. So what about now? If you make something for yourself, there's no law against that. There's no copyright infringement. But if you try to sell it, that's where you can get.
As long as there's no money changing hands, he can't legally intervene. He can still get mad, but he can't legally do anything.
Why does he have such a love-hate relationship with the fans? It seems like a crazy person. Like, some days he loves you guys and puts out content and talks to you guys and interacts. Other times he's either doing dick moves like, hey, what's that girl he tweets to? Put this in the comic, and she tweets back.
Shelby.
Or he's shutting people down for doing their art based around it. Like, I can't get a handle on it. I have no idea. And I met the guy. I have no idea what his deal is. Do you have any idea what his deal is?
He's just weird. I don't think he's grown accustomed to being this big yet, because just 4 years ago he was working on these little dinky comics on one website no one cared about.
Yeah, he's not used to having such a big franchise.
Yeah.
He's used to being an indie web
When
comic
it comes
artist.
to fan art, he kind of picks favorites. There's 4 or 5 people who are now like the art team 2.0 is what he called them on the blog. And they're the one who make all the prints and flashes and calendar and stuff.
Yeah, Selby actually isn't part of the What Pumpkin team, but every other week he's hiring her to make new merchandise and make another comic.
Does Hussey have a day job, or is this it?
This is it.
Did he ever have a day job?
Yeah.
I used to work at the Blockbuster Video with Hussey.
We never knew. We don't know what it is. No one ever knows.
But he did at some point.
But he didn't quit his job till like Act 5-ish, about a year and a half into the comic, is when it got big enough that he started coming out with the T-shirts. Then that was enough to keep him fed.
To keep him rolling in Faygo.
He said that all of the advertising pays for the server and all the merchandise pays for his food.
That's crazy. And what kind of check do you think he got from Namco for that project?
Yeah.
That never lasted more than 10 seconds.
That's the part a year and a half ago where it gets a little weird, because he's done so much weird stuff since then, video games and Kickstarter.
That's
and
when he got pretty big.
That it's moved past that.
Yeah.
Even. Homestuck's a franchise.
If there was one piece of Homestuck merchandise you could have that they don't make, what would it be?
God.
Austin, you what would you like? If they could make one item, what would you like?
Give the license to Funko and have pop vinyl.
You'd like pop vinyl.
More figures. They have the 4 kids as figures.
Now that's an easy request, because they make blank pop vinyl.
Yeah.
All you have to do is screw horns in the head and you can have it. So there's no like a like a Ruby's costume, Zeelihu, or I would have thought the first thing you'd say would be the game.
The game is coming. He's 100%
it's
said
never
it's
coming. It's never coming.
We have the Gary's Mod playset now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're talking about a free online server, and the guy was paid millions of bucks. Where's the real game? What about you, Luke? What piece of merchandise would you like?
Oh, either a full-size Terezi dragon hood from the comic. She wears a dragon outfit for
They have
RP.
the beanie.
They made it, and it's like a handmade crocheted beanie. That's like $25 for a crocheted beanie.
You want like the full $50 outfit.
Or Smuppet plushies.
He can't sell those legally.
He can.
No, he can't.
You have
He
to-
markets them right.
I have no idea. You have to describe what you're talking about.
Bros-
I'm assuming it's infringing on Jim Henson's copyright, which he doesn't seem
No,
to have a problem
That's
with.
not the issue, actually.
Dave Strider's brother, he's just Bro Strider. Dave Strider's brother, Bro Strider. No,
No,
Bro
we're not
Strider
doing that.
runs an adult puppet website. And him and Dave are super rich off selling Smuppets, which is like adult toys that are puppets. It's like it's so ridiculously bad that it's kind of ironically funny.
It sounds like Mad TV's version of adult Toy Story.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's just these.
Why would you want that?
it's the
The hoodie's a better idea than that.
because they have the Squiddles and they have the Scalemates, and this is a whole line of plushies they could be profiting off of.
But
They
it's-
can't
will
make it. They
But
can't
it sounds
make it.
filthy.
It's just a
Why
little
can't they make it,
puppet
Austin?
doll.
Because in the comic, it's inappropriate. They've hinted at being inappropriate. But yeah, its actual physical appearance, I think, would be fine.
It's just a little doll.
It's just a puppet with, like, yeah, it's just a puppet. That's it. It's just a
It's
little doll.
just a
It's
weird
not even a
puppet.
puppet.
Hussey drew the weirdest looking little puppet frog thing you can make.
Yeah, it's not inappropriate.
Has somebody made a Smuppet on Etsy
Oh,
and been
all
shut
the
down?
time.
everyone.
Everyone tries to make
It's
these
easy to
things.
sew. It's just a little
It's
frog
like
thing.
how every week you'd find a new person trying to sell Scalemates before they eventually made them, the little
Oh.
dragons. And now they've made the Squiddles and the Scalemates, so Smuppets have been the go-to. I have this piece of merchandise they don't really make, so no one else can have it.
I don't remember the Squiddles. Were they one of the cons?
They're by We Love Fine, and they're like a fifth of the size that they are in the comic, and they have little keychains on them.
But they do magnetic.
They
all-
do, but they did that so they can put the magnets in them. Because in the
Okay.
comic they have magnets,
If
and
you-
if they were to make giant plushies with magnets, they'd be like $100
He
each.
did that. They were charity. He made 100 of them.
That was a weird thing. That was the first time he had to shut down a fan for copyright. And instead of shutting them down, he just said, "Donate all the money to charity, and I'll let you do it." So he put a little advertisement on the website and said all money was going to charity.
They went towards what? Tahiti earthquake?
I think it was some
Yeah.
whatever weird that was. I wasn't in the fandom then.
So that's the copyright nonsense?
I think that's about it.
I could
yeah.
talk about the Scalemate issue.
Go ahead.
What's
That's what we're here for.
Okay. This is an issue. So this all starts from a Tumblr user I'm not going to name out of respect for them that sews Homestuck plushies that I just think are the best things ever. They sew all the sprites and Lucy. And nobody sews that, you know? Everyone just sews mini Dave sprites and Smuppets. Always Smuppets. But this person sews all the Lucy. And one day we blogged this person on the Tumblr tag who was saying, I think it was I'm in college and I need to make some money, so I'm sewing professionally made Homestuck Scalemates for $15 each. You can place your order here or buy them from my Etsy. They said, here and enjoy this link to the store. And then the person from the Tumblr, in the rudest way possible, here's what they said. Thanks! You have now been reported to Waitzel, head of What Pumpkin, for illegally selling Homestuck copyright. Enjoy your yelling, or whatever they said. And I'm like, that just rubbed off as the rudest thing they had ever said. They didn't even say, you shouldn't be selling that. Hussey says no. They said, thanks, I just wrote a hand letter to the head of What Pumpkin saying you're selling this and they're going to come after you. So I sent a thing to them saying that came off as really rude, and they actually got a ton of messages, so they just shut down their ask box and deleted everything.
Did he ever make the items or no? He was shut down.
We don't know.
We don't
after
know.
that.
After that, Waitzel sent a
That's
message.
the part where Rachel steps in and we don't hear from them again.
Yeah, it's like they disappear off the face of the earth once Waitzel steps in.
Well, I guess that would be like one of the advantages of being just one guy running the deal, because he walks around, it's his deal, he sees something, he gets upset, he shuts it down. It's not like Lego has representatives walking around Comic-Con shutting down all the Lego customs that have nothing to do with the fandoms, or, you know, stuff, licenses they don't have, or it's not like DC has a Batman guy walking around going yes, no, this is good, that's not. Like, it's just so arbitrary, because it's like, you can make this Homestuck stuff, and then you're playing the odds of, will Hussey be at the convention?
Yeah.
And if he is, you're shut down.
Yeah.
If he isn't, you make some money.
The latest cons, he actually hasn't been saying he's been going. He's been keeping it all secret, and he hasn't done signings. He just sort of goes and walks around.
Right. I think for WonderCon, we should put some Homestuck clay figures on the table, because this is your way to meet him.
Yeah.
He's able to walk up like in glasses and a hat and a coat and like, excuse me, what are these? And you're like, well, these are homemade Homestuck figures. Aha! It is me, Andrew Hussey, and I'm shutting you down. And you'd be like, we're not really selling them. We just wanted to meet you. It's so nice to meet you again.
That same day at Anime Expo, I was wearing a Homestuck jacket that Aldo sewed for me.
Yeah, right. The
And
stitched one.
I had two people come up in What Pumpkin staff shirts, and they're like, "Ooh, where'd you buy your jacket?"
Did they really? I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, they did. And I said, a friend made it for me as a birthday present. And like, oh, okay.
You should have said
well-
aisle 7 and then watch him run.
Watch him run off. Then they instantly translated into, "Oh, that's cool. Can we get a picture?" Like the tone just suddenly shifted
yeah,
when they found I
sure.
didn't buy it
See,
here.
Hussey does have representatives that go around the con.
Yeah, he has people.
It'd be funny, like, what if I made some of those crappy wooden puzzles and charged half? Aren't they like $80? What are those?
Stone bafflers. Those are all handmade by an artist he's hired, and they sell for $80 to $100
Nobody buys them,
each.
but he
And
keeps
I don't
making
think
more.
any of them have ever sold. They're limited edition. The ones from 2 years ago haven't run out
He
yet.
brings them to every con and promotes the heck out of them, trying to get people to buy these. I know by Sunday of each con they're always so cheap and nobody
Yeah.
buys
What do
them.
they have to do with the comic? Describe what it is.
It's
It's a wooden puzzle or
stone.
something.
It's a stone
Oh, it's a
little
stone puzzle.
round puzzle, and they have they take symbols from the comic and make them into puzzles.
Made of wood. Hand cut
Like,
'em.
it looks to me like something you'd see on Survivor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
immunity's at stake and go, and
And
you're
they
like,
put little pieces together,
putting
yeah.
the symbol together.
And it's so complicated that if it ever comes apart, it is never going back. It's a decorative piece that you hope you don't drop and let it fall apart.
Do you know who made these for him, or what? Is he just selling them for a
he's-
friend?
I'd have to. It's all in the What Pumpkin store, their website store, and it has the little artist there. And you, I don't never looked at him. I'm assuming you can click on it and go to his page.
What if there's like huge canon secrets hidden in these puzzles? And for $80, you could find, like, what if you put it together and on the bottom it's like, surprise, thanks for $80. Here's how Homestuck ends. But
No one's done it.
No one's bought
one's done it.
So you're out of luck. Like, remember when that Micro Machines TIE Fighter pilot nobody wanted? You could take his helmet off and it was George Lucas. It's like, oh my God, everybody wants it now. What if those puzzles hold the key to Homestuck?
He kind of did that with the hoodies. One of the first pieces of Homestuck merchandise to be released was the God tier hoodies. In the comic, you can die and go God tier when you reach the highest level. And he started making actual hoodies of the hoodies from the comic. And this was before they were all shown in comic. So whenever a new hoodie came out, it showed a new symbol we hadn't seen yet, a new color scheme. And now, this far in the comic, the color schemes are super important when the actual God tier shows up.
And you could have known that, years in advance
If you looked at the hoodies and studied them well.
And where were those available?
On the What Pumpkin store.
What
Click the
Pumpkin?
banner at the top.
Always What
And
Pumpkin.
they were released in pairs and sets of 4. People are still theorizing if the sets they were released in is important to the story. And some of it actually has been. Breath and Blood both came out on the same day, and those have kind of been confirmed in comic to be sort of related. So they're trying to draw connections from that.
This is like some weird multimedia scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Where they can't just tell you the story. It's like, no. You got to go here, and you got to buy this, then go here, and then do this, and then do this puzzle and put it together.
Yeah.
At any point during all of this Homestuck fascination, have you ever reached a point where it's like, it's just too much. I'd rather just read an Iron Man comic.
No, you just sit and you read. I every few months I'll skim through of all of Andrew's old blogs and websites that have been taken down now for secrets, and I still find little connections.
What's the most recent nugget you've unearthed?
That was the never-ending story with Doc, right?
Dirk? Oh, yeah. There was a page, I just read this
we
off
need to
the
start
blog.
off by saying Hussey is obsessed with Neverending Story.
He is.
He loves this movie.
yeah.
The movie Never Ending Story.
And they're also talking about, in a page they're talking about Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. And Hussey spelled tail T-A-L-E as a reference to Neverending Story, the tail.
Is it a coincidence that the kid rides around on a luck dragon?
Hussey rides around on that in the comic.
Oh, well, of course he does.
He goes into dream bubbles and he rides it, and it vomits on all the bullies, and the children, the nerds applaud him, and
So
weird
what was this thing you unearthed?
he spelled tell T-A-L-E as a reference to Neverending Story, and then later that day retconned it. And this was right before I joined the fandom, so I didn't get to see that retcon. So it's interesting to see that little joke was in there that only was available for readers who were reading it that day.
Now, I notice you're always on the Reddit message board.
Yeah.
And the Reddit message board is where you post these episodes. So, hey, thanks to all the Reddit message boards people, because we even got a couple of iTunes reviews from people from all over the world who are listening. So we're very thankful for that. So what is your take on the Reddit fan base? Has it shifted from Tumblr to Reddit? And it seems to be Reddit is more tolerant. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
They're a lot more mature than Tumblr, but still not as mature as the MSPA forum people.
Most of the MSPA forum people know Andrew, and it's a lot of the music team.
Everyone on the MSPA forum are either close friends with Andrew, or they've been around since before Homestuck and Hussey's older works, and they're fans of those.
Yeah, they're a lot older than anyone else in the fandom.
The Reddit people are much more about our age. Have been reading the comic for at least over about a year and a half, and they'll still, their theories are much more mature than the Tumblr fandom, but we still make jokes. Like this week, the thing was we were putting sandwiches and everything. We take random pictures from the comic and edit sandwiches into their hands.
Not
and
just
stuff.
sandwiches, sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
The sandwich? Did you get a sandwich?
Yes.
When you were doing this, were you having a sandwich?
What else?
So let me ask you real quick. We got about, I don't know, we're unlimited, but
Yeah.
we usually wrap up in 10 minutes or so, but it doesn't matter. Austin, what is your favorite theory that you've come up with?
My favorite theory that
Yeah.
I've come up with.
Yeah, one of your Austin Goont my fries theories.
I don't make good theories. I can't think of good theories.
I've got a few.
Luke comes up with amazing theories,
All right,
and I help him with
it's
these
Luna.
a lot too.
Luna, what's one of your best favorite theories?
My favorite is the
man?
11/11 update for last year. The comic wasn't updating at this time. It was
That's
on
right.
Gigapause.
Okay.
But the What Pumpkin Tumblr, they changed certain edges of their border to red, and they just said the word obey. And then they said the word submit on the next day. And this was right before 11/11, which is the day the Alpha Kids started back in 2011. And that's a line from the comic. That's what this Betty Crocker hides it. She says, obey, submit, consume. So I said, on 11/11, What Pumpkin is going to say consume. And it'll be referenced to us consumers buying the new Crocker tier hoodie, which is Jane gets her god tier gets corrupted and she becomes Crocker tier. And the guys in the forums like, that'll never happen. They'll never make that hoodie. Crocker tier is the dumbest sign name ever. That was made up by the Tumblr community. That's not in the comic. The next day they released Crocker tier hoodie now available. Consume it here.
Yeah, right here. Come on.
And then the same thing happening with Christmas. They posted a picture of a eyeball of one of the characters that I immediately figured out who it was. And from all their little hints in the wording, you can read the full post on
You
my blog.
predicted everything.
I said they're going to release plushies of this, and this character, a print of this character, and release these plushies here. The next day they did exactly that.
Yes.
And then
You're a lot better
Yeah.
than BYB, okay?
Comic-wise, I have a giant theory post on Wayward Vagabond that you can read at bewareskimp.tumblr.com. The whole blog, I'm just making fun of BYB. I reversed his color scheme and his blog layout.
It's
inverted like his theories. And I just make out these long, drawn-out theories that don't make sense, just like his.
But they all come true, though.
And
Yours
the
come
joke
true.
is mine come true.
The joke is that yours are really good theories.
My current one, I still need to write up a big, long post about, is that John's retconning currently is going to make it so that Nepeta stays alive. And a lot of people are talking about that. But what I'm adding on to it is her being alive in the retcon timeline and dead in the normal timeline is Schrodinger's cat. She's both alive and dead. And as the cat character, that's what's going to happen. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a final question for you guys. This always ever upcoming Homestuck video game that the Kickstarter was supposed to actually, kickstart. What are you hoping that it is? Are you hoping for a Gary's Mod type of game? Because here's my theory. My theory is that he's going to burn through all his money going to these cons and shutting people down when he really should be working on a video game. And eventually we're going to get the modern day equivalent of we simply ran out of time. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But what I'm talking about is I think we're going to get a Telltale type game, point and click, with 5 different lines of dialogue to choose from, where it's minimally animated. It looks like Shadow of the Templars, Broken Sword, that kind of game, where it's like choose your own adventure. That we're never going to get the immersive Grand Theft Auto version of Homestuck that you guys think we're going to get, and it's only going to be a 2D flat Telltale game. That's my theory.
Hussey has confirmed 2 things about the gameplay. One, it's a point-and-click 2D adventure game.
And he even talked to Telltale.
Oh, yeah. He said he was in talks with Telltale to work on it, but they didn't want it. It was too small of a license. Not their thing. They're with Game of Thrones and Walking Dead now. And 2, oh, God, I forgot 2.
It will be partly 3D.
It's 3D animated, but it's a side-scroller point-and-click.
Where you get like 5 choices.
And the other thing he said is that Suburb. That's what John is playing on his birthday. They're all playing Suburb. That's the video game. It's the plot of Homestuck, is they're going to play the Suburb beta. The game will not in any way, shape, or form feature the game Suburb. It won't even be mentioned.
Why?
Because he says, quote, he's already told that story. So,
but the point of video game is to allow you, the reader, to experience the adventure. That's the whole point.
No.
He said Suburb was the plot of Homestuck. This is not Homestuck.
This is Hive
Swap, not Homestuck.
Is there any correlation between Homestuck and Maniac Mansion?
No, but there is with
Red Herrings?
No.
Because doesn't Maniac Mansion have an asteroid that crashes into the house?
I've never played it.
Yeah, you should go. You can watch somebody play Maniac Mansion in about 25 minutes, straight through on YouTube. There are longer videos where they do all the other options, and it does have the first ever red herring in a game. Yeah. But to me, like, there's some subtle similarities there.
It's Monkey Island he alludes to.
That's another LucasArts game.
LucasArts point and
bet
click.
Monkey Island alludes to Maniac Mansion.
Yes. In One Flash, it's Vriska and
Vriska and
Terezi on the top of the meteor, about right before Terezi, spoilers, kills Vriska.
What? Wait a minute! Trigger warning!
For the first time. It shows Mindfang's ship, because that part of the comic does all these fancy things where it's showing their ancestors and how they're living their ancestors' lives, and it cuts to Vriska's ancestor Marquise Mindfang on her pirate ship, and if you look little tiny in the corner for half a second, Guybrush Threepwood is rowing a little boat to safety.
And he has gray skin and little troll horns.
And they made him into a little troll. There's a troll Guybrush Threepwood in Homestuck.
Okay, so I just brought up a screen grab of Maniac Mansion. Doesn't this look like Homestuck?
Yeah.
Like, look how close it is.
Well, it's
the whole.
It's got this.
It looks very similar.
To me, that's the look like. It looks like he patterned it to look like Maniac Mansion.
Because that leads back to Prom Sleuth and Jailbreak, which were all spoofs of text-based adventure games.
Okay, so that's not crazy.
It's not crazy. Its origins are at point-and-click adventures and text-based adventures. But now that Homestuck's so far in, it doesn't follow that anymore. He kind of quit that within the first few acts of Homestuck.
the best parodies transcend the material that they're parodying to become their own material.
Yes.
That's the best part.
It started out as the first few acts are just text-based adventure spoof, and it became its own thing. It's gotten its own rules now.
Now it's just a normal story with dialogue and traditionally drawn pages. It doesn't look like a video game.
The new retcons are cool because whenever he goes back to a certain point in the story, he adapts the art style. And Hussey tries to draw in his old style, and it's hilarious to look at. He claims he hasn't advanced at all doing Homestuck, but when you see him trying to draw in his old art style, it doesn't work.
Well... Oh, yeah, you're saying he has advanced.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, everybody grows as an artist. I'm a better writer on book 4 than I was on book 1, no doubt.
But he claims that he never improved.
He claims that he's been holding back and that Homestuck just hasn't gone up to his standards yet.
Well, that he's retconning his life is what it sounds like. All right, we're going to wrap up this episode. Any final thoughts on this Christmas Eve 2014 as we're a day away from Christmas, we're a week away from 2015, and all the conventions that next year holds, all the Homestuck meetups.
We're supposed to have he promised a new update on the game before 2015.
Yeah, and he'll do one on New Year's Eve, 9 o'clock.
That's what he did last year.
Yeah, why break tradition?
There's actually going to be an update tomorrow on Christmas, isn't there?
Christmas night, there's going to be a real update of the comic.
All right, so we'll have something to talk about next episode. So... any last word? Why don't you two wish everybody in Homestuck Land a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. And we're about to right now enjoy our Betty Crocker brownies that have been baking while the episodes... no joke, we really are. So we want to thank you all for listening. This is 91 Reasons, and we're going to get to the end here. My name is Jeff Tucker. I am the voice. I am the host of 91 Reasons. These are my Homestuck experts. Go ahead and say your name and say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. The best way to support the show is to go on iTunes and give us a great review. We love reading your reviews, and it really lets us know that you're liking what we're doing. We're really grateful for the Homestuck fans literally around the world who are listening. We are humbled by the numbers that we're seeing and the many Homestuck fans in so many different walks of life and traditions and places around the world. It really does say what a fandom can attain. And we've not gotten any negativity on this podcast because we're trying to do something nice here, and we're really happy that people are enjoying it and really taking it to heart. And there's even some non-fans who are just fans of the regular 91 Reasons podcast who are listening to this thing. And, I'm going to give that Homestuck thing a try. So what you're saying is working, which is good, right?
Yeah.
All right, give us a review on iTunes, subscribe, tell your friends, share the links. Check out my books on Amazon.com. They're not as good as Homestuck, but they're my own thing. The Sixth Key, The Lost Station, and The Infinite Backward by me, Jeff Tucker. They're available in a paperback or a Kindle download for 99 cents. If you're a member of Amazon Prime, the download is free. You can't get better than that. We also have a Patreon page. Look up 91 Reasons on Patreon so that if you'd like to donate even just $1 an episode, $1 a month, everything helps and it goes straight to the podcast. We're pretty archaic in how we do this show. It's the three of us. We have one microphone. It's an Adam Levine Maroon 5 microphone from Target, so it's not even the greatest thing. So eventually, if the Patreon... he kicks into high gear. Unlike Hussey, we will actually use that money to put right back into the project that we're working on. And the project that we're working on is 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
So why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?